Well, this is a capability that's very much required on the battlefield, the current battlefield that we're really learning, how war is changing in the Ukraine with the mass use of drones. The challenge we've always had from the beginning is the only sort of defense we had against drones was air defense missiles. Now, these tend to be very expensive, ranging from the cheapest of probably £100,000 up to millions. But when you're trying to knock down drones that only cost $1,000 or so, and as we're now seeing in Ukraine, are in their thousands, if not tens of thousands, then it was very clear that something else was required to be able to operate in this sort of environment. And I think from the early days, people realized that it's the electromagnetic spectrum that is one of the key elements, because these drones have to be controlled by either through the airwaves or through a direct link or so, and then how you can find something of reasonable cost to be able to take down so many drones. And I think people have always thought that lasers are the way to go. But the challenge you have with lasers, they require a lot of power. And also, when you've got so many drones, what we call target acquisition is hugely challenging. But one of the key elements that has happened really on the battlefield relatively recently is the use of AI to be able to target. So with the help of AI, actually, you can target thousands of different drones or different targets at a time. So I think what we're seeing from the Turks, who have sort of gone public on their latest vehicle, the ALKA-KAPLAN, I think they're calling it, which is ostensibly an armored tracked vehicle with a laser or a group of lasers on it, but also the capability to interdict, affect the electromagnetic spectrum. So it's a combination of the two. And the idea would being is that they can affect the electronic links to drones, either slow them down or stop them, and then use lasers to knock them out of the sky. The laser will basically fry the electronic circuits in a drone, and it'll crash, or if it's got explosives on it, it will explode, and therein the issue. Now, the British government and the Defence Scientific Laboratory at Porton Down have also been doing a lot of work on this. And it is a similar sort of technology, I expect, the ability to fire multiple lasers very frequently at a low cost. And I think the Ministry of Defence here in the UK was sort of saying they've got each laser fired down to about £5 or £10 a shot, which makes it a really potent weapon for this type of capability. Now, the Turkish defence industries are maybe one step ahead here, or no doubt are trying to corner the market, because I'm sure whoever can demonstrate a capability like this works, everybody is going to want one. The main challenge that Ukraine's having at the moment is multiple drones. I think we're aware that Russia is firing about 500 drones and missiles every night at Ukraine. And at the moment, they're having to use Patriot missiles, multi-million-dollar missiles, to knock them down. And that there is only a limited supply of these capabilities. But also on the battlefield itself, on the contact lines, there are thousands of drones buzzing around. Surveillance drones. There are the first-person view drones, which are dropping hand grenades into trenches, into armored vehicle hatches. And there are also drones dropping chemical weapons. Now, if you can have something like this that can cover quite a wide area, I don't think we're not aware of the range that this vehicle has at the moment, but we're assuming it's probably a couple of kilometers. So actually, that's quite a wide area. And if it can, knock these drones down, then that will have a tremendous advantage for the Ukrainians and help them to get back on the front foot. Certainly, my experience as a tank commander, it's one thing to look at one target, one tank, or maybe a couple that you're trying to fire against. But very quickly you become mentally overloaded with what's happening. So when you've got thousands of drones, that this is where AI comes in, that can do the sort of computations, instantaneously, that it takes the human brain, a few minutes or whatever to do, and you just don't have that time. So I think AI is fundamental here. It's also appearing to be fundamental in actually when you're using drones in an offensive manner, so that you can sort of pre-program these drones to go and attack targets. Because as we're seeing, whoever controls the electronic magnetic spectrum really controls the battlefield. And one way around it, which the Ukrainians have demonstrated, is they can pre-program their drones using AI. So actually, they're not working on GPS or any electronic signal. They're doing a pre-planned sort of type operation.